Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll look at Congruence Standard 9 from the Common Core Standards. This standard involves proving theorems about lines and angles. And in this video, we'll focus on proving that vertical angles are always congruent. Just quick little backgrounds. Vertical angles are formed when two lines intersect. And the word vertical actually comes from the word vertex. So vertical angles share a vertex, and they're opposite angles in the figure, like so. Here's a second pair of vertical angles right here. And so there's the vocabulary. Little piece of background knowledge. When we're talking about angles formed by intersecting lines, we need to know something about the number of degrees in a straight line. So let's just recall that a full rotation consists of 360 degrees, and therefore a half rotation would be half of 360, which is 180 degrees. In fact, if you have several angles, could be 2 or 3 or however many, 4 or 5, altogether, when you add these up, okay, if the angles are really on a line like that, then they should make a half rotation altogether. So that tells us that linear angles make 180 degrees. And that's important to know for the work that we're going to do here. All right, so let's dive in and start looking at some vertical angles. Quick review of the concepts around that. Okay, so let me just rotate this into position, and we can now measure. This angle right here is 10, 20, 30, 35. It's about 36 degrees altogether. And so let's see what we can learn about the remaining angles. Well, this angle right here does form a half rotation together with the right angle. So altogether, when we take 36 and add the green angle, whatever that is, we should get a half rotation, or 180 degrees. Okay, so then we can just do the math. If I add 4, I get 40, so this should be 144. All right, so without even measuring, we can use math to infer this angle must be 144 degrees. All right, let's go further. Let's now swivel over to here, and we can see that together with the green angle, this purple angle also completes a half turn. And so if we take the green angle, which is 144, and add in the purple angle, we should get a half turn or 180 degrees. Well, didn't we just do this math problem? The answer is right in front of us. Okay, it's got to be 36. In other words, if these are the same, and the answers are the same, well, these have just got to be the same. Okay. And that is the theorem that we're going to prove in this video, is that 36 matches 36 is not a coincidence. It had to be that way. There's no way around that. Okay. And as we go forward with this, let me just make some variables. Okay, so in order to prove once and for all that vertical angles are congruent, not just in that example, but in every example, we should use variables, knowing that those can represent any measures at all. And we would like to show that the value of w is equal to the value of y. Okay, so let's get started. First thing to notice is that w and x are making up a straight line. I'm going to hide the part that's not involved in that, so we can ignore this right here. And we see that x and w are making a line, so we will call them linear angles. Linear angles make a line. And so we can write down an equation that's about w and x. In particular, w and x together should make 180 degrees. Okay, let's call that observation 1. Observation 2. When we look at x and y together, we see that they make a straight line as well. We can ignore this other component. And so we can write y and x are linear angles, also making a line. And so we can write an equation that's about them. Y plus x is also 180 degrees. Okay? And let's now pull those two facts together. In step 1 we said this, in step 2 we said this. What can we learn from that? Well, let's put our mind to work. So let's say that William is carrying a backpack and he weighs his own weight plus the weight of the backpack. Yan is also carrying a backpack with the same weight. So he's his own weight plus the backpack. And let's say that William gets on the scale with his backpack and weighs 180 pounds. Yan gets on the scale with his backpack, also weighs 180 pounds. Isn't it true that these two guys have to have the same weight? Well, obviously they do, because they're both weighing 180 pounds. All right? So in general, we can say that if two things are equal to the same thing, then they've got to be equal to each other. Okay, so here goes. We have w plus x and y plus x, both equal to 180, and so that means they're equal to each other. All right, and the important thing here is we knew they were equal. Okay, now we see, let's unload that backpack. If you take William and ask him to unload his backpack, then now he just weighs w. If you take Yan and he unloads his backpack, then he just weighs his own weight, and so they must be the same weight as each other. And let me kind of clean this up to where the sentence makes sense. Whoops. If we subtract that backpack, if we take it away, if we subtract x from both sides of the equation, we're going to cancel it out. Subtraction cancels it out. And we're left with the inference that w is equal to y. And our conclusion, since w is equal to y, we conclude that vertical angles are always equal. They're always congruent angles, and their measures are equal. Okay, here's a recap, just so you see everything on one screen. W and y are vertical angles in the picture, and we'd like to prove they're congruent. So the first thing we said was that w and x together make a half turn, so they make 180 degrees. Secondly, y together with, let me say this the right way, x together with y also makes a half turn, so those also equal 180. And therefore, these two expressions must equal each other, since they both equal the same thing. And if we just subtract x from both sides, we get that w equals y, which proves that vertical angles are always equal. All right, I hope that video helps you to master Standard 9 and that you've learned how to prove the vertical angles theorem. Thanks for watching. See you next time.